And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in our game as the Great Qing. The second run in patch 1.8.7, I think, is current patch. Basically the last patch, or the last run before the next major patch comes out, which is going to be 1.9. Because I want to see, well, first of all, I know I sort of screwed up in the last one by adopting proportional taxation a little bit too soon. So I want to see if I can get the GDP both higher and there faster. Some combination of maybe there and faster may not work. Hoping that we will get higher, hoping we'll be able to get there faster, and those might kind of go hand in hand. Maybe higher might be the harder of the two, really. Oh, I forgot to merge the Navy stacks. We'll do that right now. So design-wise, basically China starts off with three big groupings of troops. I merged them. But those groupings aren't merged into individual formations. What I've done is I've just merged them and then made sure that their commanders are capable of commanding both the units that exist in that stack, plus some number of conscripts. So the big stack down here is basically the big stack. Promoted the 4 commanders it has to 5, and then gave it enough conscripts that, in theory, if the conscripts fully higher up, the commanders can still command them all. Similar thing up here on the on this army. It had 4 commanders. Gave it, well, in this case, I only upgraded 2 of them to 5. But giving the remainder of the conscripts of this army, again, if this army recruits all the way, these 4 commanders should be able to command them. And then this banner, in one in Manchuria, by default, you only have 1 stack there. I think default, you technically actually have a commander there. What I've done is ours ended up actually quitting, so I ended up picking a new commander for him. In our case, we're allowed to have one that's a pillager, so we stuck a pillager on him. Doesn't really matter. The other thing you might notice is I swapped all the line infantry, told them to upgrade to line infantry, and then everywhere except for the one we're going to be doing expeditionary stuff with, which is the plain red banner, we've upgraded to dragoons. This one we set to cuirass. Doesn't really make a big difference. Cuirass, dragoons, the difference is whether you got that +5 on offense or defense. Cuirass is offense, dragoons is defense. I had planned to merge the fleets. I didn't actually merge the fleets until the video started, so you just saw me do it right there. And you saw basically how I did the mergers. Is if you're careful, if you delete a stack, they'll only merge into the closest one. So because China's already broken into 3 stacks, that's basically how I wanted them split. I just had to basically delete the unnecessary stacks. Now for the war against Russia. We are at the point where we could declare it, but then we'll do a little bit of hand-wavy delaying action. We want to wait until France is at least at about 40, or 40 opinion. So we may try to do stuff that improves that. And the answer there is probably to start trading with them so they'll agree to a proposed trade agreement. You get an extra relations every 100 days. And they're opposed 118 because they're cautious. That'll improve in a couple days or a couple weeks. And there's not enough trade volume. Okay. And then tech-wise, we are going to work down into railways, doing atmospheric engines. By the time atmospheric engines is almost done, lathe should be finished. So you can do mechanical tools and the railways. Lathe is right now expected to finish in like 6 or so weeks. So hopefully that'll finish. That will lower the cost of atmospheric engines, so we get that done faster and that sort of stuff. Let's look at our market. In the meantime, actually, let's import guns. Everyone who sells guns, give us some guns. Except for the Russians. For some reason, I think importing Russian guns from the Russians right before declaring war on Russia is not a smart idea. So we'll buy some guns. We'll also come back down here and say, hey, tariff the exports. I don't think anyone's buying our guns, but if they were, raise taxes on them. We do have a need for opium. I don't think I can set up a trade import for opium. No, I'd have to end the tariff. And that's even with the ban getting rid of the desire for Pops to want opium. Well, the obsession with opium's gone. So let's try importing art from the French. Nope. Maybe the French are already exporting us art. Nope. Okay. Can we get hardwood from the French? Yes. Would even be profitable. And then wood. Again, can we get that from the French? Yes. And paper, can we get that from the French? See, I'm kind of trying to get buddy-buddy the French. We don't like the Russians, we don't like the British, and hopefully the French are the best horse in town that is neither of those. And the French. We'll try importing grain from the French. I don't think that'll... yeah, probably not profitable. And then again, all of these, because we're trying to import, we'll set to export minimization. These are all the places that are expensive, so no one's probably importing from us anyway. We're not going for... what's it called? We're not going for... is it even showing up here? It's, corn laws. We're not going for corn laws. We could go for corn laws. I'm going to try to postpone it until we have commercialized agriculture, so we can get it an easier swap over to commercialized agriculture. There's lathes. And we can see guns are doing fun things. Lathes does give us some good PMs, so we'll swap to some of those PMs. The only one we're not going to swap to right away is leaded glass. We are going to want to do that eventually, just not right now. Okay. And then by the looks of it, we should be making more guns. We got about a 480 gun deficit. Making them about 300 at a, or 30 at a time. 80, 16 arms industries. Okay, we'll run something like that. The numbers will readjust as they displace imports. Or as demand goes up, because as we move towards war, demand will rise as well. We'll finish up the ports we're currently working on, and then get right on those. Because in the meantime, we now... did that help the French? Got them down to minus 50. Not enough yet. Trade volume plus 75, so that's helping a bunch. And they're still cautious opinion of us. That's not an interest. We're about to start a war with them, guys. Wrong party. Sides with Russia in a war. Interesting. Okay, so this is probably a good point to start the Russia war. Hey, Russia, I know you've got another war going on, but, how about we make that another war? We want Kamchatka? Why? Oh, I forgot we need a declare interest in Eastern Siberia for that to work. I don't need the one in Japan for the moment. Once that's in effect, we'll start mobilizing for that war. We are sort of procrastinating a little bit. We need to get 50 opinion with France before the war is over. Chicken the egg problem. And then probably for the war, we'll slow the speed down a little bit. We've been enjoying rolling on speed 5 here, but war be hectic. Speed 5 and the shenanigans speed 5 is probably not desired. Let's see. Where's Kamchatka? Kamchatka, we can conquer state. There we go. Mobilize conscript border. Mobilize conscript border. And mobilize. All our subjects are loyal, so we shouldn't have stuff. The problems the sort of problems we had last time, where one of our subjects tries to jump to the other side. They're worried. They kind of should be. They're going to be involved in a double war. Let's grab our next objective. We basically want the coastline here. So I want Kamchatka, I want Otosk. Partially because we can jump those really easily, so that gives us some land holdings that we can grab really quick. We want war operations from the Russians. We want revoked claims. And revoke claims. And revoke claims. How close are we? We want to make something primary. Yeah, let's click that. Okay, so that's about 100% of our claims. That should be just about enough to get us 200% recognition. Now, we're in a position where we're in the decaying tier. So, to make this work, I need to do all the objectives simultaneously. Because otherwise we'll immediately lose some of the recognition and it won't work. So that's why we sort of gotta procrastinate. The war needs to last long enough that we can get 50% with France. So we can have that check mark when we get the 200 that one to get that check mark. That'd be the plan. Apparently we need an admiral, otherwise this is not gonna work. It looks like the traditionalist will be the one we go with. This is also a war that I do not mind running a deficit for, because it is going to significantly lower the cost to pay the debt. And again, our armies, we'll do one last quick check. Army should be on defensive, they are on defensive. We'll drop the speed and let the war start. Speed 4 is probably quick enough for what we're doing. Actually, we want to land Otosk first, because then what we'll end up doing is, when we land it, there's no one actually garrisoning Siberia out here. The Russians don't really care about their uncored territory. What we're declaring for is the uncored territory, so they won't have any guys stopping naval landings over here. Land one, pull back off, land the other. Well, the Russians basically sit on our border. And the moment we take one of them, the line stretches for that, meaning our main guys in defense will defend it. This is the plan. This is my version of the recognition war cheese. There's definitely other ways you can do it. Lots of people do it against Spain or the Ottomans. This is just the way I do it, because then you don't need a lot of convoys, so it doesn't really interrupt your trade as much. Whereas if you're doing a fully overseas war, well, shipping hundreds of thousands of people elsewhere, that takes a lot of convoys. This doesn't really take a lot of convoys. Okay. First landing complete. Prep up for the second. And then we send them around to the far side. We got 3% to go, so I don't suspect that the French will. I suspect we will get to 50% before the war ends. One thing we will also do once we get recognition is we will form our power block. We didn't form it ahead of time because it's technically got something like a minus 50 growth rate when you're unrecognized. It also lowers the opinion of the French. If the French have made their own power block before you do, and the French have, so we're going to take an opinion hit when we do form it. I suspect we'll be able to recover very rapidly the French after the fact. Okay. Second landing complete. Third landing is we need to get one Russian corps occupied. I tend to find that Archangel is a decent target for surprise landing, so that's what we're going to try to doing. In theory, our army is strong enough that if we were a little desperate to do it, we could simply order a general attack. The Russians have usually stated Ryatia here, yeah. So all we'd have to do is push the border that far, and the Russians would give up. But that gets a lot more Chinese guys killed. And I like to keep my people to pay taxes, and alive to pay taxes. So surprise landing, Archangel with the tiny fleet and the 30 regiments is usually the best way I find to do it. You do a little bit of a naval micro with it. If one of the two arrive long before the other one, the Russians will respond with their navy, in which case, as the Russian navy shows up, you cancel the landing, your guys start going home, their guys start going home. Your guys got a lot longer distance to go, so your guys will hit target first. When they get told to turn around and go back home, or go back to the target. And apparently the Russians are having rebels. So we've got extra distractions. Don't normally have... This is the first time I've seen a double Russian rebellion. The Russians put their rebels down over here. The Russians have reactionary rebels in the Baltics. So we're getting a little bit of an easier time than I normally would expect. I normally would have expected them to actually be active fighting on both fronts. And we're in debt, and we're not paying a lot for the debt right now because it's not very big. Oh no, we're not in debt. We're about to be in debt. We'll be in debt within... Oh no, we are in debt. 1.5... Let's see if I can recognize credit versus reserves. So yeah, the debt isn't very big yet, but it's going to get bigger. So we do want to get our debt... Well, we want to get our interest down. Right now we're paying a lot of interest. The French want to enter a trade agreement. Sure. And we're just waiting for our guys to sail around the world. While the 100,000 sort of guys, well, almost 1 million strong army, well, what could eventually be 1 million strong. Depends on how quickly the conscript up. 1 million strong or so army sits on the border with the Russians and looks scary. As you can see, the Russians haven't responded to their navy yet. The Russian navy is a little bit slow. It doesn't respond to naval landings like this. Until one of the two units gets there. In this case, it looks like the Navy will get there before the Army, which doesn't particularly surprise me. That tends to happen quite a bit. So the Navy has arrived, so the Russians may now respond and send their own Navy. I think they're not because they've got stuff going on in the Baltic. But we'll see how long that lasts. Here we go, their war's ended. So I'm suspecting the Russian Navy will start coming out to meet us. I think that might be what it's doing right there, but it's a little too late. successfully landed. We're not going to attack from this position. We're going to swap to the defense and stall. So at this point, we should have all our objectives, and we do. So we just need to stall before they go 100% and they'll give up. How's the guns looking? Really bad. I'm surprised there's actually artillery. Someone's buying artillery. I'm not making the artillery. I think it's one of our subjects has decided they wanted to. So the poor 30 group here is obviously not going to be enough to hold the front or hold the Russians off. What we'll end up doing is they'll probably throw us back into the sea. We'll fade retreat until the Russians start to reorganize on the other border, and then we'll attack again. Rinse and repeat. As you can see, I think it's every 2 weeks? Every week it's going down about 1.6, 1.7. When we have this place occupied. Arguably, I could have probably postponed this a little bit, waited until it get a little bit closer to 0, so it would go a little bit faster, while we got a guy vulnerable here. The Russians do outnumber us, so they will just start to push this unit back. Minimize the devastation. Sure, we'll promote the Army General. And we're going to rebalance the economy once the war's over, I think. Okay, so they pushed us back. We're going to wait for a guy to travel a little bit far back. Also wait for the Russians to disperse a little bit. And then we'll just re-land them. Because we can. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm wondering what this line is. This is the 30 stack deflecting over to the other front line. Wait for him to go about that far. We're not going to give him the whole 180 days to go back. We're sending him in, and we just click like that. He'll be back there in 10 days. And as you can see, no Russian people defending Archangel, so we'll just re-land and be like, we occupy a Russian port. And there we go. Back in the defensive in the port. And it looks like a very big negative, but their willingness to give you things before they're below 0 is really terrible. They're much more willing to give you things the moment they drop below 0. So we're not going to have to push them all the way to negative 100, in my experience. There you go. You see it dropped from like 600 something to negative 34. That does probably mean we need to get them to negative 35 war support to get them to surrender. Meaning we might have to do the landing trick one more time. And we're just calmly waiting. We got a queue going. We're building a bunch of docks, so we have the trade capacity to do trade and such. Probably based on the fact that I've got 100 something, or got 1,000 something convoys, we probably actually got enough docks built, and I could probably lay off the rest of the docks and swap to something a little bit more productive, like wood or fish. Yeah, there you see, we got kicked back off the front line again. That means the war support change is going to stall. Because we can't push them below 0 when we don't control all the objectives. Okay, there's atmospheric engines. Next tech we want is mechanical. Bit of a shame that it's spreading intensive agriculture, but that's fine. What I will do is, in preparation for what we're going to want to do, we're going to subsidize the mines. We're also going to want about... Oh, this is based off of... Nope, that's not the... Actually, no, that would work. Just, we need that tab. We're going to need about 10 coal per mine. We have 9 mines right now. That means we want about 3 coal mines. Which 3 doesn't really matter very much. And we're going to subsidize those as well. The plan there is, if we can have them at full hiring, now that we've opened Atmospheric Engine, we've got 10 years to do this thing. The reward that you can get off of this for completing it is either you can get a tech boost to water tube boiler, or you can get a tech boost to railroad. But you have to have the ability to research railroad before you can get the tech boost to railroad. So that's why we want to do mechanical tools, and we want to delay completing the Atmospheric Engine project until, or the Atmospheric Engine journal entry until we can apply it to our railways. So that's why I'm subsidizing those things and building the coal mines. Because we're going to want those on. We're going to want them on atmospheric engines. We just don't want them on them yet. And turn around and go back and do it again. Because again, all the French went running off to the border where they're actually, in theory, we could just attack here. We outnumbered them enough that they'd crumble. But that's going to cost a lot of Chinese lives, whereas at this point we're just risking 30,000 doing a naval landing every once in a while when the Russians go to the Eastern Front. Oh, and I suppose those coal mines are a little bit more important than these ports, so let's delay the ports. Oh, and don't think I need to be suppressing the absolutists in front of it, so we'll drop that. We'll probably lower the government wages. We'll lower it a little bit more when the war's over. Two more weeks? Yes. Well, next week we'll propose it, and they'll give us what we want. Which should... And we'll do a quick check to make sure we have the opinion with the French. should mean we complete earning recognition right away. Propose peace. They accept. You can see we have opinion 50 with any country that's great power, French and great power. At progress 100%, because we got 200, so if we untick and give it a week, there we go. The Qing French Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. A new dawn for the Great Qing. Ratify the treaty. We become recognized. We gain bonus opinion with France. We get positive catalyst with France. And we also become a great power. Give it a couple days for that kick in. Which means, at least for the moment, we are the most powerful, or most prestigious nation in the world. We'll see how long that lasts. Because we're not going to be spending as much on army and navy and stuff. And with that, let's go ahead and form our power block. It's not going to be Trade League, it's going to be a Sovereign Empire, because we're a monarchy, and Sovereign Empires are powerful. And that's going to be vassalization. We don't need to exploit our members. Form the power block. Yes. So we just did gain gain 30 opinion with France, that we then promptly turned around and spent to become the power block. Let another week pass. There we go. So you can see that's helped a lot, both demobilizing and changing wages and not having everyone mobilized and stuff like that's helped a lot with the taxes. Tax revenue. We're still not quite positive. So we can just pick another tax, the 5k from luxury clothing, and then we'll be positive. We're probably going to still want to start some wars, so we'll run a little bit more deficit from the wars. Because we're recognized, we're getting the full cohesion bonus here. Which in our case basically means we're going to be sitting, for the moment at least, at basically full. And we'd get more if we had more members. And we'll get some more policies here. Okay. So that is the war. We're recognized. I'm going to play a little bit longer. We're going to probably keep it going on a little bit of a war footing here. The next place I think to invade, if we can do it, is go into Dainam. Oh, I need to use my new declared interests. Let's get those declared interests out. So we need Indochina back. We need you back. I want North Germany, New England. I suppose I technically don't need that one in Arctic Russia. We'll grab Arabia so we can get vaguely involved in stuff that's happening in the Ottoman Empire. We'd like to free Basar at some point if we could. Persia. Bombay? Sure. We'll let those come into effect, and then we'll invade Dainam. Yeah, the plan is we're going to make a protectorate Dainam. We are going to let the infamy decay back down. We'll probably do the same to Burma, let the decay back down. We'll see if we can do the same to Siam, let it decay back down. And then we're going to start pushing towards Persia, annexing and then releasing as a vassal all the nations in Central Asia so we can get a border with Persia. Then we want to protectorate Persia. And that's probably where we'll sit for a while on our loyals. This is a duel between two people we don't really care about. So we'll just let... Well, actually, we also don't care about their opinion or popularity, so we can just let them take their popularity by saying no. Foreign Manifesto. Struggles are international one. It's usually the option you go with unless you really must not have that political movement be any stronger. Interrupted. Well, you can see the GDP dropped a little bit. When we were at war and deficit spending like that, our GDP was a little bit higher. join the Anti-Ottoman Russian Association. Okay. And we're waiting to declare war on Dynam. We are able to protect them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. At best, they'll get Cambodia to come help them. Okay. In this case, we probably don't, you know, need to mobilize the conscripts, so it's going to be a little bit of a cheaper war. That we will go ahead and war reparation them. And if anyone comes to help them, to be fair, the only people we're expecting to come help them is maybe Cambodia. Oh, I think Cambodia might not even have a choice. Cambodia thinks they're subject. Oh, and they back down. Okay, well that works. It means I don't get my war operations, but that works. Burma would be next. We want to have enough aggressive expansion, or enough infantry space under 25 that we don't go over 25, so we need to wait until it goes back down to 10. For the moment, I'm going to say I don't need any more docks. So any docks that we've not invested in are going to get kicked off the list for the moment. And, what's our shortages like? Looks like we got enough guns. We could build more because we're importing them, but we're not going to worry about it for the moment. Actually, no, we will worry about it for the moment because we've got good returns on guns. We got minus 50% military good cost from the armed forces, newly created army. We made them powerful, that rise to 30. We are still on peasant levies, which is another minus 10%. So we basically, if we had the army powerful, we'd be paying basically half price, and yet the factories would still be receiving full cost. We want to inflate that a little bit more, so I think we will build guns. Build some guns. I guess we did. Do I have a sulfur mine, or was it my subjects that built the sulfur mine? One of the subjects built the sulfur mine. The ports aren't cargo port, please. Anyway, we're waiting on these for tools to be finished. Sawmills, fishing trawlers. I'm recognizing that we've inherited some of the Russian territory, so I need to set the PMs correctly on those. Okay. Yeah, so the big ones that stick out to me is we're paying premium on clippers, so we should build some ships. Build some shipyards. Paying a premium on paper, we'd get good returns on guns as well, I think, in the long run. I think it's going to be clippers, paper, guns. I might procrastinate a little bit on paper so we can do paper pulp instead. Yeah, okay, maybe... No, that's paper bleaching. We want the one before that one. The one before that's mechanicals. Okay, so we're waiting for sulfite pulping, which is mechanicals. Good to know. So yeah. Clippers, we're short about 1,800 or 180 clippers. And it'll probably go up because pop consumption and trade routes will swap to it as well. So at least 180 clippers. We make 35 per, so we have about 6 shipyards. Clippers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. And I suppose we can go ahead and pre-check how much it is. 10 per paper mill. We have 78 paper mills. We need about 780 sulfur. I believe sulfur is on the same schedule as the lead, so that means we're going to want about 20 sulfur mines. So we can queue up 20 sulfur mines. Again, domestic only, please. where the most peasants are. Oh, we got some in Shaanxi as well. We'll go ahead and put some in Shaanxi. We'll probably put cost modifier there. Oh, and we grab you. That brings us up to 100. Free road maintenance in Shaanxi, which gives some more infrastructure space there. Back down to neutral. In fact, arguably while we're at peace, we can do that. That does drop us to second. We're no longer the greatest, most prestigious power in the world, because we've decided to sort of shaft the pay to all of our government employees. Okay, there's some gold mines to be built. We'll add those to the queue. And we'll go ahead and set those gold mines. Again, nationalize them, or privatize them, subsidize them, and in the case of the gold mines, I'm going to just straight go up and say, no, you can make the gold. Make the gold full speed, I'm on board with that. And I suppose at this point we can turn the speed up. Have to be a little bit careful watching the construction queue that we don't let it go completely empty. So no longer working in ports, working in shipyards, which is good. Yeah, we work on the sulfur mines. The sulfur mines are going to be done a little early. We got 25 months left in mechanical tools. But that'll be fine. And then I'm going to assume that's going to help a lot with the paper. So we might go over to guns next. Stop having to import the guns. Though apparently the guns prices are crashing anyway. So we'll just stop imports that aren't profitable. Looks like the French one's the only one that's going to be profitable. Yeah, at -9 it's probably not worth buying more guns. That's fine. Okay, in which case then it's probably wood next. So coal demand's pretty high. We might actually want to... No, we still want to wait a little bit on that. I don't want to overproduce coal. So we definitely got places to consume coal if we need to. Also out of Revel. Yeah, we can go to greener pastures. Yeah, leave the anti-Ottoman association, that's fine. So yeah, I think we're going to go heavy on wood, followed by heavy on fish. Quickly build up our economy. Mass communications, more authority. Might be able to swing that into another tax. Yeah, we'll pick up tobacco tax. The Russians have declared us a rival, which maybe isn't super surprising. Okay, we are at the point where we're going to go back to deficit spending and invade Burma. Well, Protectorate Burma. Burma, I want you to be my protectorate. No, you get no choice in the matter. The Dutch East Indies are joining them. We'll add war operations on Burma. War operations on Shan. We're not going to play anything to the Dutch East Indies because I don't think I have the navy to land them. So if this war actually goes hot, we're basically going to be waiting the Dutch out, is the plan. He wants to declare a rivalry on the Ottomans. We'll do that. That's not too tedious. Rivals. There's the rivalry. Rival both of them. And I suppose we should improve relations with the new subject. Okay, it looks like this is going to go hot. We are pretty heavily winning, so I might just go full attack. I'm going to go ahead and mobilize up the second group. We'll get the war over reasonably quickly. Yeah, we're going to stick... Well, while we're mobilized, it might be a little bit tempting to grab some more guns. Like 7 things of guns. Okay. And then, yeah, we're going to wood after that. So, resources, lumber camp. And the answer is yes, please. Basically, anywhere where we think we can get it higher up to full, we're going to want that lumber camp to be there. Yeah, about that far down. So, hundreds of lumber camps. Before I started out with Burma. I think... Well, it's going to wait until we got mechanical tools here. The steel tools, yeah, okay. Is it? Oh no, I suppose Motor Industries isn't atmospheric. We could start building the steel mill and the motor industry that we need to start building the railways. And we're definitely going to be needing railways sooner rather than later. War's going. We got overwhelming numbers, and so we should just overrun the targets. Well, at least this time we're going to get war operations. Sure, don't see a problem with that. Okay, the phone was ringing there. It wasn't anything important, but I did mute the mic for the duration of that, so you didn't hear it. Hopefully other than the first couple of views. There we go. Applied stuff to Burma. And then once again, Siam's a little bit more complicated because we don't actually have land access to Siam currently. So we'll probably hold off on Siam. We're going to start working west to Persia. In the meantime, we are going to improve relations with these guys. Our next target is probably overrun Kundas, which we might be able to do right now. We specifically need southern Turkestan, 3.7 infamy, and another... Okay, so that's about 5. And we do want to annex them because we want to not run into the problem we're having with Burma and Dainam. where we don't have military access to them guaranteed. If I annex them, then I can release them as a subject that will be a vassal, which will have military access through. This is the plan. So Kokland, or Kokand, is the only one that may get involved. We'll hit confirm. Worst case scenario, they'll back down and they'll just have their province. Okay, they didn't back down, so we'll mobilize the big army. Assign that to the tiny front. To be fair, I think we need about 1 tech depth of time to build the steel mill and the engine factory. Looks like it's just going to be them, so we are going to go ahead and annex them completely. Sadly, that means we can't get war operations. And they're probably not going to back down from a full annexation, so they will probably keep to the war. Just no one's coming to help them. It's kind of hoping that Kokland or Kokand up here might actually join in, but they're not. And half the country's already overrun. That's, well, we got enough guys there, that's not surprising. There we go, war over. We're not going to hold on to that country, because that just... it's not much to it, and we're not too worried about it. Let's see if we can remember the name of the country we just annexed. Nope. Chaka, Atadal, Pakistan. Oh, we're not allowed to release that one as a country. Interesting. So not Kazakhstan, which that's fair. Not the Far East, not the Siberia. Interesting. I was expecting to be able to release them as a country. Afghanistan's grayed out, so I suspect... oh no, that... well, a bit of that we can give to Afghanistan. We don't have Afghanistan core, is what's going on there. It says we need to control 4. I'm not sure we need to control all 4, but I know we need to control their capital normally. Okay. Well, we're going to hold on to that for the moment. Needless to say, to get to where we're going, we need to take over some of these states. Looks like we are going to want to basically be down to about 5, because that's a 10. That brings up to about 19. 21. Oh, no, we probably went all the way down at 1. That's going to be a long wait. Yeah, Kabul, if nothing happens, Kabul's next. We're going to stay demobilized until then. Okay, next tech is railways. We're going to start working on railways. We're going to, industry-wise, the top of the production thing, we're going to do a steel mill and our motor industry in Shaanxi. We're going to subsidize both of those. And we'll probably get them done in 3 years. In fact, they'll probably get done before 3 years. Now, we can go ahead and try to complete atmospheric engines. We'll see if it does complete. We may need a little bit more poking to get it to happen. Oh, and we got a whole bunch of PMs I should swap to. Furniture, lathes. Oh, we can swap to precision tools. We'll stay on luxury tools until we can get mechanized workshops. Wrought iron for the moment. Sulfite pulping to get all those nice sulfur mills sulfur mines very productive. don't think I got quite enough lead production to do the same with the glass. Though that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's click that button. We'll subsidize them temporarily so they don't completely collapse while we're doing it. And then we'll build up the lead to support that. 40, and we want about 220. So we want like 4 lead mines. Still. Water industry, steel mill first. Everything overflow going to the lead mines. Intensive agriculture, that is something we may invest in doing at some point. Not the priority right now. And we got a healthy balance. In fact, actually, we can make the balance healthier by doing that. Small price to pay for the march of industry. I think we're going to go ahead and play out this tech, get the railway tech, and then we'll start in future parts looking at simply focusing on raising GDP. We're up to 96.5.6-ish. Don't know where we were at the beginning of this recording, about an hour ago. But we were down as low as like 78, so it's upward bound. The early years are the slow years as we're trying to get industry and stuff going. Coal's a little expensive. We probably will need to push the coal price down a bit. So build like 4 coal mines. And looks like Southern Manchuria is probably the best in the long run. Well, it's implying it's the best right now, but we've got infrastructure problems there. High Bay is probably the best right now. Let's go and build out the 4 in High Bay. All that is gold does not glitter. Six months, we'll grab the next one here. Probably grab the early construction one. The early construction one's pretty strong for early on. And then we're trying to get atmospheric engine done. It's almost done. This will accelerate the railroad adoption. Lowering the price on coal should help. Days of darkness, that's not helping. So we're basically waiting for cash reserves to fill up a bit. We might actually need more coal. Yeah, it's not turning on quite as fast as I'd like. We might need to grab some more coal to lower, because all those buildings are, well, except the exception of the coal mine ones, are requiring coal as an input, which interferes with them filling up their stockpile. cash reserves. Oops, I need to put that at the top queue, otherwise it's not going to get done anytime soon. We have a bureaucracy problem. Must add plus bureaucracy from something. Ah, we lost the 10% from the petit bourgeoisie. Perak. So one thing we can do, where's Perak? Is try to integrate people peacefully. Into the power block. That makes the most sense with tiny little guys like this. Where our leverage can become overwhelming real easily. %50. A little bit hard. The cash reserve bit is actually that's the hardest usually with these. Let's go look one by one at our mines, figure out where the actual sticking point is. Okay, it looks like it's probably... Nope, no, we're getting hit on all of them. Why are you not making money? Decent demand. I suppose I could import tools. Let's do a bunch of tool imports. See if that helps. French, definitely. Russia's not a bad choice. Sheik are right across the border. Russia's just across the border. Dutch. Yes, we're trading with the rivals. It'll be fine. This is a temporary solution. And we say, don't import from us. We'll import from you. See if that helps. A little bit. What I can do is we don't necessarily need the lead. I think it's the lead and the sulfur, most likely. Oh, we're struggling a little bit with the gold mine, too. Though the gold mine isn't maybe surprising me that much. There wasn't a lot of population in that state. Oh, sulfur is doing pretty good. So let's, and actually it doesn't surprise me. Because the paper, that's the feedstock to that. No, I mean sulfur. Subsidizing the paper consumption. Okay. So coal's good. Some of the coal could do a little bit better. We need demand for iron and lead. For the moment, let's just export iron and lead. French will buy the iron. Can we get the French to buy the lead? Oh, no one wants the lead. Okay, that's going to be the problem with the lead. May have overbuilt the lead. Okay, iron is... Well, we just did an export for iron. Let's... Also, iron's a little bit easier to expand. I can just swap over... Oh, are people selling us iron? Yeah, some people were selling us iron. Alright, we'll give that a month, see if that helps. Another thing we can do is we can swap some of the construction sectors over to iron as well. Yeah, okay. Start with all the small ones. Oops, that was all the small ones. cycle a week or so, see if that's making a difference. And then we'll swap over. One of the bigger sectors of that is making a difference with the iron mines. Not quite. Almost. And we need the cash reserves at 25%, so... Beijing next. Oop. Well, that will work, just not quite the way I want it to. We'll hold off a little bit in getting that to fix itself. I should be getting the iron ones to generate a decent amount of profit when given up to 25% of cash reserve. That's 10%. I suppose we should build government administration. Deal with that bureaucracy problem. Okay, how goes? 55.5%, so not quite there. This is, well, after the change they've done on it, it's been a little bit harder to do recently. Banking, there's the minting. At this rate, it's going to end up being applied to the one we didn't want it to, because we're going to finish the tech first. Yeah, apparently over-invested in lead. It's about the right amount of lead. I'm surprised the lead isn't making decent revenue. Where's that? That might still be the coal being a little bit high, so I can build a little bit more coal. 7 more things of coal. Yep, at this point we're just going to end up with railways and we're just going to have to live with it. We'll just apply it to the next tech, which is water tube cooler. I do think we're still going to succeed at getting it done. Oh, there it's done. So, do I want... we got like 300 left to go. Do I want to apply 3.5k to something we only need 300 left? Or apply it to water tube boiler? We're going to do the water tube boiler. Got the timing a little bit wrong there. It'll be fun. There we go, that's railway transportation. And then that becomes like the #1 thing we're going to build right away. We get the infrastructure positive in places. I'm gonna let this episode go a little bit long. I did want to get that tech done. So we got recognition, the railway in this part. Previous part, we got the Opium War and Swapping over to agrarianism. From here on out, it's basically going to be doing things to raise the GDP ASAP and as quickly as possible. I suppose actually out here we're not too worried. We're probably going to be giving this away, so these ones don't get to be built. So no to you and no to you. That'll accelerate extraction a little bit because we won't be working on such bad ones. Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, there is a likelihood there will be another one up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, once again I'm going to take a short break. I think after 2 hours of streaming, I need to get a new cup of tea. Because I've got a half cup of tea in front of me that's going to disappear in a couple seconds. I hope you've all been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, again, probably part of tomorrow, Twitch, feel free to hang around. It's going to be a tea break, so I don't necessarily know how long that's going to be. And I think the next part will be a little bit shorter. I think we're going to keep the next one to like 30, 40 minutes. So, and that will probably be the last one for the recording day. So until then, I wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.